Have you ever noticed how silence can sometimes be louder than words? When it comes to Jimin and Jungkook, that silence has been echoing louder than ever in the hearts of fans. For years, their bond was something people admired and celebrated. It wasn't just about being in the same group. It was about the way they seemed connected in every moment, from silly jokes to meaningful glances. But lately, something feels different. It all began with a rumor, a small spark on social media that spread like wildfire. People started whispering that Jimin might be seeing someone new, that he might have a girlfriend. First, most fans ignored it. After all, idols face rumors almost every week, and usually they vanish as quickly as they appear. But this one didn't fade. Instead, it grew. Blurry pictures, anonymous accounts claiming inside knowledge, screenshots with no real proof. It was messy, but it was enough to make people curious. And curiosity turned into speculation. Because while the rumor might not have been solid, what caught everyone's attention was Jungkook's reaction, or more accurately, his lack of reaction. Fans expected him to be the same as always, to smile when Jimin spoke, to laugh with him in interviews, to show the same closeness they had shared for so many years. But instead, what they saw was quietness. Moments where Jungkook looked away, moments where he didn't respond the way he used to, moments where the energy between them felt different. And when you've spent years watching two people share so many small, warm interactions, those changes don't go unnoticed. Fans feel them deeply. For a long time, Jimin and Jungkook weren't just teammates, they were brothers. They were a duo that carried each other through challenges, always supporting, always lifting one another up. Fans saw them as a source of comfort within the chaos of fame. Their friendship felt like a story, one that fans could believe in, one that made the world of idols feel a little more human. But now, with this rumor hanging in the air, that story feels interrupted. Suddenly, it's not just about Jimin possibly having a girlfriend. It's about what that means for the bond he shares with Jungkook. 'Cause when someone you're close to becomes the center of gossip, it can create a shift. Even if the gossip isn't true, it forces both of you to deal with the weight of other people's eyes, other people's opinions, other people's expectations. And sometimes that weight is heavier than the truth itself. Think about it. For Jimin, being under this spotlight must be exhausting. One day he's celebrated for his voice, his dancing, his kindness. The next, he's judged for something personal, something that may not even be real. And for Jungkook, standing next to him, the silence he keeps becomes louder than anything he could say. Fans ask questions. Why isn't Jungkook defending Jimin? Why isn't he showing the same support he used to? Is he hurt? Is he disappointed? Or is he simply choosing not to add fuel to the fire? That's the tricky thing about silence, it can mean anything. And people will always try to fill in the blanks. What makes this even harder is how much fans remember. They remember the golden years of their closeness, when Jungkook would tease Jimin endlessly, when Jimin would protect Jungkook like an older brother, when their laughs felt unstoppable. These memories aren't just clips or photos. They're pieces of a bond that fans believed would last forever. So when that bond feels weaker, it's almost like losing something personal. Truth is, friendships rarely end in one dramatic explosion. More often, they shift quietly. A missed laugh. A longer pause. A silence that stretches too far. And sometimes, that's all it takes for people to wonder if things will ever be the same again. But hope is powerful. Fans still hold on to it, waiting for a moment, any moment, that shows the bond hasn't truly disappeared. A smile, a small joke, a glance that feels familiar. These tiny signs become proof that the story isn't over, that distance doesn't always mean the end. It's possible that Jimin and Jungkook are simply going through a natural change. After all, people grow, circumstances evolve, and no relationship stays frozen in time. Maybe what looks like distance is just two people learning to navigate their lives differently. But because they live under such an intense spotlight, every small shift feels magnified. Till the rumor lingers. Screenshots keep circulating, anonymous voices keep speaking, and fans keep analyzing. And while no one can say for sure if Jimin truly has someone new in his life, the damage has already been done. not necessarily to him but to the way people see his bond with Jungkook. It's almost like watching a glass with tiny cracks spreading across its surface. The glass isn't broken yet, but if you look closely, you can't unsee the lines. And that's where the pain lies, not in confirmed facts but in perception. Perception can be just as strong as reality, sometimes even stronger. For many fans, Jimin and Jungkook weren't just idols. They represented trust, loyalty, and comfort. They were living proof that genuine friendship could survive the chaos of fame. So when the perception of that friendship changes, it feels like a loss for everyone watching. But silence doesn't have to mean the end. Silence can also mean waiting, can mean patience, can mean letting the storm pass before speaking. Perhaps Jungkook's quietness isn't distance but restraint. Perhaps Jimin's calmness isn't hiding but protecting what matters most. The world may never know the full truth. Maybe Jimin does have someone new. Maybe the rumor is completely false. Maybe Jungkook is silent because he doesn't want to feed gossip, or maybe because he's working through his own feelings. Whatever the reason, what remains clear is the impact this moment has left on everyone watching. Fans will continue to hope, to wait for those familiar signs of closeness, to believe that their bond is stronger than rumors and stronger than silence. Because sometimes what keeps people connected isn't certainty, it's hope. And as long as that hope remains, the story of Jimin and Jungkook isn't finished yet. And now, everything seems to pause in that silence between Jimin and Jungkook. The stage lights may fade, the cameras may turn off, but the questions remain. Fans all over the world are left holding onto fragments, memories of laughter, the bond that once felt unshakable, and the uncertainty of what it all means now. But here's where you come in. This story doesn't just live on stage or in rumors. It lives in the conversations we share, in the thoughts and feelings we exchange. So tell me, what do you see when you look at them now? Do you believe this distance is just a shadow cast by gossip, or do you feel something has truly shifted between Jimin and Jungkook? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Share not only your opinions, but also the memories that made you love their bond in the first place. Because sometimes the stories that fans tell can be just as powerful as the ones we watch unfold on screen. And if you've been feeling the same ache, that same pull between hope and doubt, know that you're not alone. Millions of others are watching, waiting, holding on to the belief that silence doesn't always mean the end. So stay connected. Hit that like button if this story touched you, and subscribe so you won't miss the next chapter as it unfolds. Every interaction, every voice, every piece of love you add keeps the conversation alive and reminds the world why Jimin and Jungkook matter so much, not just as idols but as people whose bond has inspired millions. Because in the end, it's not just their silence that shapes the story, it's how we choose to listen, to speak, and to keep believing.